What's your worst fear? Flying, sickness, death? Believe it or not, most people rank public speaking as the #1 fear. In fact, death is the #2 fear, which prompted one well-known comedian to conclude that most people who attend a funeral would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. What is it that makes us so afraid of saying just a few words in front of a group of people? Why do we find it so hard to mean what we say and say what we mean? We learn how to talk at a very early age, but most of us get very few lessons in the art of communicating. And the truth is, communication is a skill you can learn, and it doesn't have to be scary. Hi, I'm Bill Kaklis. And over the years, I've worked with professional anchors, actors, talk show hosts, religious leaders, politicians, even athletes, helping them to improve their communication skills. Now I'd like to help you. There's really no way around it. Communication is an essential part of life. It's at the heart of our interactions with other human beings. Everywhere we go, everything we do revolves around sending and receiving messages to and from each other. And because our body language says as much as our words, we are always communicating. It's easy to take communication for granted, but good communication doesn't just happen. Ever started an innocent conversation that ended in an argument? Are conversations with adults or your parents harder than they should be? Ever felt that a teacher missed your point or that your boss didn't get the point you were trying to make? Well, we're all human and those things happen. But if you feel they happen more frequently than they should, or that you don't always get your message across exactly as you intended it, then maybe it's time to improve your communication skills. Maybe it's time to take control. How we communicate gives us away. It tells the listener what we feel about ourselves. And whether we realize it or not, we may be our own worst enemy.
Do I really want to go to this game party? Just not that smart.
I hope no one makes fun of me.
I wish I was taller. I don't even know anyone that well.
What am I going to say?
That's the inner critic talking. Before we can begin mastering basic communication, we have to tune out that critic and believe in ourselves. Believe that we are a person of value and have something important to say. Act like it, think like it, feel like it. Because who we are, our very core, merges and emerges with the messages we send. Many of us have had problems with our self-esteem at one time or another. The important thing to remember is that we can always improve it by doing the things that make us feel good about ourselves and surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us. And take charge of that inner critic. Start thinking about what you're good at and what you have to offer. Sometimes just acting confident makes us confident. And people respond positively to a confident person, which increases confidence. Want to be a better communicator? First, believe that you can be. Get involved with at least one weekly activity that promotes stronger communication. Join an acting class, read to kids at a library. Write out 5 index cards with the words, "I am a great communicator." Put one in the sock drawer, one on the bathroom mirror, one on the refrigerator, wherever you're sure to see it every day. And when you see it, you say it out loud. I am a great communicator. You say it with conviction and mean it. It may sound silly, but that daily affirmation will start you down the path of becoming a great communicator. So why is good communication so important? Well, think about it. It's the way we express our ideas, establish our identity, and build our relationships. It's key to dealing with the world around us. And the more we know and understand how communication works, the better we can use it to strengthen our relationships and succeed in our daily interactions. What is the most powerful element of communication? Words, style, humor? The most powerful element of communication is visual. It's the way the brain works. It works visually first. For us to understand a concept, remember it, refer to it, we've got to be able to see it or visualize it. For example, if I were to say white rabbit, your brain doesn't spell out WHITE-RABBIT. Instead, your brain creates an image of that rabbit. Now, this is important for two reasons. First, a good communicator speaks in such a way that the listener can visualize what's being said.
55% of a speaker's impact during communication is visual. 55% of a speaker's impact during communication is visual.
Second, people will always believe what they see before they believe what they hear.
I'm telling you the truth. Believe everything I tell you.
Not very convincing, no? We don't have to be psychic to read someone's mind. All we have to do is look at their body language.
Hi, Justin.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
Good. Good to see you, man.
Justin, Sarah, and Wayne have come to Annie and TJ's house to play board games.
Okay.
Does their body language tell us anything about them?
Chelsea now.
How long they've known each other, whether or not they like each other, and how they feel about themselves. It's an impression. It's how others see us on the outside and judge what we're like on the inside. From our body posture and gestures, our eye contact or lack thereof, facial expressions, even physical appearance. And whether we realize it or not, body language projects our attitudes and our feelings. Now, if I slouch and shuffle, what do you think of me? What if I stand up straight and walk with purpose? Or if I clench my fists, tap my foot, and stare? Just think about all the different ways you might come across in different situations. Now let's go back to our game party and see what nonverbal cues we pick up from the group.
Yes. Okay, Sarah, your turn.
Posture can tell us a lot about a person. So can gestures. See how Justin is slouched on the sofa? What does that tell us about him? Is he bored? Uncomfortable?
Did you guys see that movie?
What about the way Sarah keeps her arms folded in front of her?
Yeah.
Is she shy or distant? Notice how Annie pats TJ's back or touches his shoulder. Does it mean she feels close to her brother? And what about TJ? Does his fidgeting say he's anxious, ready to get started with the game? And look at Wayne. When he leans forward with his legs uncrossed and his hands on his knees, doesn't that show us he's listening and involved? Experts agree that an open posture is the best way to signal friendliness and interest. So sit up, lean forward, keep your arms uncrossed, relax. And let your body language say, I'm here, I feel good, I'm comfortable with who I am. Eye contact is an important signal to give and get. When we make eye contact, we usually encourage conversation. When we look away, we're often ending conversation. And if we're nervous, we might find it difficult to make eye contact at all. But if someone doesn't look us in the eye, don't we wonder if that person is hiding something? And if they do, don't we trust that person even more? Of course, making eye contact also helps us gauge the other person's response to what we're saying. So does noticing facial expressions. It is the smile that has been called the most powerful of all facial expressions. And the greatest thing about it, giving a smile, often gets one back in return. But the most important thing to understand about facial expressions is that they should support the message. In other words, don't say, "I love your hair," with a frown on your face. Don't say, "Good burger," and then wrinkle your nose when you take a bite. And don't pretend to agree, but then raise an eyebrow. Now, are you someone who thinks clothes make the person? Well, maybe they do and maybe they don't. But would you wear the same thing to a pool party that you'd wear to church? Would you apply for a job in the same clothes you wear to the gym? Clothes, and even the way we wear our hair, can say a lot about what we value. Are we trendy, conservative, athletic? With just a glance in our direction, other people can make assumptions about us based on our physical appearance. And we often make the same assumptions about others. We get a pretty good idea of how things are going at our game party. With their eyes, Sarah and Wayne have connected, with hardly a few words between them. Justin seems like he would rather be anywhere than at this game party, with his eyes cast down, his body closed off, and his shoulders slumped. TJ's body language has also communicated volumes about his personality. Aggressive, overconfident, controlling. Easy and relaxed, Annie has taken everything in stride, even her brother's ego and her friend Justin's lackluster attitude. Good communicators understand the power of the visual and use it to initiate the best first impressions, feelings, and style. In fact, we can all control how our nonverbal communication talks for us. So pay attention and watch what your body language is saying. Always go to the heart of what you want to say and mean it. Why is that so important? Because the second strongest element of communication is emotional tone. It's the emotions we connect to our words that give power to what we say. In fact, research shows that emotional tone accounts for 38% of our communication. Consider the words, "I like you." The message seems simple enough. And if words were all that mattered, well, we'd be home free. So let's give it a shot. I like you. That could have worked out better. Let's try it again. I like you. Ouch! Why isn't this working? It's not like I said I hated her. Or is it? All right, let's try this one more time. I like you. Much better than the slapping thing. I guess it's not what you say, but how you say it. Where have I heard that before? So the emotional tones, the energy, and the enthusiasm we attach to our words can mean the difference between success and failure. And in some cases, pain and pleasure. Now, not everyone has the potential to be a great speaker, but just about everyone can become a better communicator. And good communicators understand the nuts and bolts of interacting effectively with another person. They are aware that the quality and character of their voice sets the mood and provides the context for the message they're sending. Consider these basics by asking yourself, how does what I'm saying sound? Do I speak too softly or too loudly? Am I yelling? If you are, it could mean that you're angry or just excited. Either way, the volume of your voice can be commanding or distracting, depending on the situation. So consider your surroundings and the message. Speaking too loudly in a crowded elevator or car can be obnoxious. Speaking too softly while giving a speech can be ineffective. Do I speak too quickly or too slowly? If you talk too fast, your listener might miss the point of your message. If you talk too slowly, your listener might tune out before you ever finish. Varying the pace helps keep the listener interested. Do I speak clearly? Articulating your words helps make sure they're understood. And if you mumble, it could mean you're indifferent to your listener or even insecure about what you're saying. Do I understand the power of the pause? It's not dead air. It's not hesitation. pause, like punctuation, can completely change the meaning of your message. Emphasis, or punching words, is another element of verbal communication. Consider this sentence: I never said I thought you were crazy. Now, here are just a few ways we can change the meaning without ever changing the words. I never said I thought you were crazy. I never said I thought you were crazy. I never said I thought you were crazy. Now add an emotional tone to the emphasis. I never said I thought you were crazy. I never said I thought you were crazy. Hear what I mean? So think before you speak. It's not just the words that you choose, but the voice that you use. And what about those words? If communication is 55% visual and 38% tonal, what's left? Well, studies show that our actual words make up the remaining 7%. The words we use do affect how well we communicate. Have you ever tuned someone out because the words they used were too wordy? Have you ever tuned someone in because the words they used had flair? Are you more likely to miscommunicate when the words are too vague, as in, I'll call you soon, sometime, whenever? Word choice matters. We all have a need to express ourselves freely. But when it comes to word choice, a few simple techniques can go a long way to better communication. Be specific. Don't expect the listener to fill in the blanks. Using expressive words and vivid images will reduce misunderstandings and make your message more interesting. Show respect. Don't use slang or offend the listener with impolite language. Say it simply. Don't be afraid to ask others to clarify what they're saying. And be honest. Lies eventually lead to trouble, and as Mark Twain was fond of saying, telling the truth means you don't have to remember anything. So how do we communicate? By what we do and what we say, as much as what we don't do and what we don't say. But effective communication only takes place when the nonverbal and verbal messages match. When they don't, well.
Catherine, have you finished your homework yet? Catherine, are you listening to me?
I'm listening.
Well, if you're listening to me, would you look at me? That report's due tomorrow. I'm not staying up with you all night. Look at me, please.
That's what we call mixed signals. And when it happens, like it or not, most people will believe what they see before they believe what they hear. So support your words with your behavior. And remember, you are responsible for sending the message you really want to send. To be effective communicators, we know we have to pay attention to the messages we send. Both are verbal and nonverbal cues. But there's another element of communication beyond the message we send. It's the other side of the equation, receiving messages. Paying attention to the other person's verbal and nonverbal cues. And most experts agree that listening plays a critical role in communicating well. But listening is not just hearing what's been said. Listening is understanding what's being communicated. Have we understood the message clearly? A good listener asks that question. And one way to answer it is by repeating back to the other person what we thought we heard. Did I get that right? Is that what you're saying? A good listener doesn't interrupt and is present. Not thinking about what to eat for dinner or what to wear to school the next day. If that sounds like you, consider that you might miss something. In fact, we never really know where conversations will take us, which is another reason why it's so important to enjoy the ride. A good listener doesn't judge the speaker until the entire message has been heard. Isn't that what we'd like for ourselves? So even if we don't agree with the other person's point of view, we should hear them out. A good listener resists the urge to formulate a response while still listening to the message. It's not a race. And after all, what's the hurry? Try something new. Clear your head and actually absorb the message being sent to you. in all its parts, the words, the gestures, the facial expressions, the tone. Really listen. And you might be surprised by what you really hear. A good listener tunes out all distractions and tunes in the speaker, focusing directly on the speaker, facing the speaker, looking in the speaker's eyes. You see, listening is an active experience, not a time to just sit back and contemplate what we would do if we won the lottery. And remember, sometimes all we need to do is listen, not give advice, not solve any problems, not offer an opinion, just listen. Becoming a better listener helps us become a better communicator. It also helps us discover ways to make our own message more clear. Are you listening? Let's review. There are three basic elements in communication: the words, the tone, and the visual. The right word choice can transform a dull, mediocre message into one that wows, more accurate, more interesting, more powerful. Choosing words wisely can also decrease the chance for misunderstandings. Tone is how our message sounds and what emotions we attach to it. Without emotional tone, communication is flat and uninteresting. It isn't human. The most powerful element in communication is the visual. Body posture and movements, eye contact, facial expressions, even physical appearance. Managing our nonverbal communication will help us make the best first impressions, generate positive feelings, and develop a memorable style. If verbal and nonverbal messages don't match, we get mixed signals and miscommunication. Receiving messages is just as important as sending them. That's one reason why listening is an active experience.
I knew they'd think I was stupid.
Everyone is really nice. I think they like me.
I think she likes me. I think they like me. I still don't really know anyone that well.
They were really easy to talk to.
Some things you can't change, but you can change how you come across. Don't compete for talk time. Never forget that you're talking to another person. And that other person is just as human as you are, with the same fears, the same weaknesses, the same inner critic to restrain. Be real. Get to the point. Watch carefully how your message is being received. Are you making the right impression? If not, ask why and change course. Make an impression. And remember, invest yourself in what you say and do. There is only one you, so be the best you. Because no one can do you better than you. And most importantly, practice. Practice, practice. The more you communicate, the easier it will get. And while communication may not be perfect, it can be effective and powerful. And when it is, great things can happen. So get ready.
Wow.